Hello, everybody. Just want to wait until everyone settles down real quick. Just going to wait for a couple of minutes until everybody settles down. Maybe more viewers show up. If not, then I'm going to be... Hello, everybody. Oh, okay. Just want to wait until everyone settles down real quick. Sorry about that. I may have forgotten to switch off the YouTube in the background. Hope that no longer becomes an issue and it doesn't echo until Kingdom Come. I'm just going to go ahead and just make sure that the stream is doing well because I accidentally shut down Chrome and apparently I'm not getting any better at this stream, am I? Let's see. Alright. Let's see what we get. How's everybody doing? Where are y'all from? Hey, dog, how you doing, man? I hope I pronounced your name correctly. All right. Fine. Okay, we are about to start. Just gonna give it one more minute while I figure out how to bring back the chat because I just lost it again. Alright. Alright, Yorkshire. Yorkshire. Okay. Alright. So let's begin. Now, I'd like to preface the discussion about getting the best out of the Vegas Post link, the connection between Vegas Pro and Vegas Effects, with asking ourselves a few questions. I have a timeline here, which is essentially a music video that I'm still working on that has gone through 3 different stages. This is the uncolored stage where it's just pure log and just me after having collected it from syncing. This is the cut music video and just very random color filters just thrown on just to take away the look of the log. And this is where the more colorful and high contrasty and more color corrected version. And there's a reason why I'm bringing this project into the live, and that's mainly because the form factor of the event chain that you guys are going to have is going to impact just how smooth the experience is going to be with Vegas Effects, and I'm going to explain that shortly. For now, let's just go ahead and just go for a list of questions that I typed up here that that we might want to ask ourselves prior to opening or prior to working with the link between Vegas Pro and Vegas Effects. And one of the questions that I personally struggling with, even though that this is a finishing step, right? Coloring is. Am I coloring in Vegas Effects or am I coloring in Vegas Pro? Not the first question you would ask, but it's nevertheless important to ask for because here's the reason. Whatever you do in Vegas Pro, or whatever effects you do in Vegas Pro, does not get carried over to Vegas Effects. So if I were to work with this log footage and if I had color corrected this and laid out the foundation for coloring and then taken this to Vegas Effects, it would render Vegas Effects would render all the efforts that I have done completely useless. Basically, I'd see nothing. So, in theory, perhaps it would be worth considering doing the color correction in Vegas Effects and doing the color grading in Vegas Pro. Even though Vegas Effects has far more powerful facilities when it comes to color grading than Vegas Pro. So that's a very interesting point of confusion that you're going to have to think about in your workflow in the Vegas Pro. Once again, if you color correct in Vegas Pro and throw it over to Vegas Effects, all your color correction is gone in the Vegas Effect interface. You won't see any of it, and sorry, there goes my light. You won't see any of it, and yeah. So this is just something that's worth considering as you look into Vegas Effects. Look into color grading. The second thing that you might want to ask yourself is, can I make these effects in Vegas Pro? I mean, is it really necessary to send a clip and have certain potentially go through a very processor intensive heavy procedure rather than just doing it all in Vegas Pro? So for example, titling. If your titling is very, very simple and rudimentary like this one, this is a little text. This is obviously a no-brainer. You do it in Vegas Pro. If you wanted to do a bit more complex titling with some masking, this is in Vegas Pro. You can already do this. Why bother sending it to Vegas Effects? So this is just one more question that you might want to ask before you send a clip to Vegas Effects. Of course, Vegas Effects has a vastly far more superior text editing tool than Vegas Pro could ever hope to accomplish. So in terms of kinetic typography and some really complex text editing, you would want to put events into Vegas Effects. But if you can do it in Vegas Pro, why not just get it over with? So that's one more question that I would pose to you, is that if you can accomplish it in Vegas Pro, you might as well do it, because when you're living in a world where time is of the essence, sometimes the simplest solutions are the most desired ones. Will I need just one or multiple clips in Vegas Effects? Interesting question, because if you're gonna take this music video, for instance, and say that you'd want to work on this particular shot and just right click and hit edit in Vegas Effects, that works. But if you also want to take this clip in Vegas Effects and transition it with another clip in Vegas Effects, because you want to use, say, the 3D camera, which is heavily used in the more advanced transition effects, then you may need to consider either two options. One, you would, for example, take a duplicate of this event and say the duplicate of this event, take it out across, and then side it next to each other, and then render it. Maybe put a text here that as a separator, so that you render it and then you put it into Vegas Effects. That's one potential solution. You could, of course, pre-render this into a new track so that you combine both into one and then take it into Vegas Effects. That's one option. The most ideal option, in my opinion, is that when you are planning ahead for the edit and trust me, you do want to plan ahead for the edit if you're going to roll with this. You would consider simply opening Vegas Effects as a standalone software, doing the cutting and all the doing the cutting and the transitioning and everything in Vegas Effects, and then you would drag the Vegas Effects project into the Vegas Pro timeline. To me, that sounds a bit more sensible. But of course, this is in my limited experience. This is something that you guys might have to you guys might find a much smarter alternative than I would in this particular experience. So this is something to think about. One more thing that I would there's a reason now why I brought this to timeline as an example. If you're multicam editing, here's another thing. If you're multicam editing, and if I were to right-click this, sorry, let me repeat that. If you were multicam editing and you were not using, in this particular scenario, for example, I'm not using the multicam editing function, and that is native to Vegas. What I attempted here was, chopping it up, lowering the opacity, raising the opacity of the clip below it, and that voila, that's multicam editing. It's a pretty traditional method that is used in broadcast when we're not using the one screen where you combine all into one timeline and you select the cuts. So that's one way of multicam editing, but is it ideal in the Vegas Effects pipeline? So imagine if I had to if I wanted to work on this clip, but I wanted to work on it's the same footage, right? This is all the same event. If I wanted to do something here with Vegas Effects and then carry it on to the next part here, then I would have to open this with Vegas Effects also and do the adjustments again. So that's a headache, and you don't want to do that. So if you're going to be multicam editing and having Vegas Effects in your timeline, I highly suggest using the composite envelopes. So this is a composite envelope. This is how you get it. You right-click and you insert insert the composite level envelope, and this is it pretty much behaves like the volume envelope. You add a couple of points, you lower it down, you make this little vertical shape, and wait, let me just go ahead and take this like that. Yeah, you see that? This way you are not forced to if I were to do a Vegas effect edit, let's say at the beginning of this video, it would carry across the entire event and I wouldn't have to open Vegas Effects again, at least for the most part. So just a suggestion. Should the work start in Vegas Effects or Vegas Pro? That perhaps can be summarized in a pretty quick answer. I think, in my opinion, if you have a relatively small project where you don't expect to do a lot of audio syncing, and you are well acquainted with the way Vegas Effects, obviously, then perhaps it would be appropriate for you to start in Vegas Effects. Or you could be having a very complex project where it's mainly about the visuals and very little to do with the cutting and having a narrative in the same manner as a music video would. Then obviously you can do that in Vegas Effects. Otherwise, it's better to it's better to start with Vegas Pro and plan ahead as you do. Should I do everything as Vegas Effects? Well, honestly, this question shouldn't even be there. It's probably like I technically already answered that question already. One last thing that I would like to like to encourage all of you is that when you take an event into Vegas Effects, if you want to be, if for whatever reason you're worried that you would mess up something that and you'd have a problem, if you're worried about messing up, then I would suggest duplicating the event or duplicating the track. So in this case where I'm using composite envelopes, if I were to duplicate the event and move it across, well, it's duplicated, but I would also have to reapply these envelope movements here, which is going to be a pain in the ass. So alternatively, I would right-click and duplicate the track. That way, by duplicating the track, I'm keeping the form factor of the envelope, and I can right-click and take things into Vegas Effects. So I know this was pretty quick. Do you guys have any questions? Assuming you guys are still here. BQ Counterpoint Films, how you doing, man? Where are you tuning in from? Let's see. Got 5 people watching. Oh, well, what do you know? I've had a record, what's that again? Oh yeah, a record break, guys. 5 people viewing my live stream. I couldn't be more flattered. Thank you very much. Birmingham, UK. All right, awesome. That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to receive them. I try to keep my live stream as short as possible, just taking into account the people that are going to be reviewing this later. I do not want to create an hour's worth of live stream unless I have something that is worth an hour tuning into. By the way, just wanted to quickly make announcement, as I did in the previous video, is that the Vegas Creative Academy, the website, is still in development. Hopefully it's going to be I think it's going to be a great asset for everyone that's going to be wanting to look up tutorials for Vegas Pro. And what the website is going to do is essentially going to curate all the tutorials that are available, whether from the old masters or the new that have so generously contributed their time on YouTube. My focus is to try and curate everything under one page so that people can easily navigate and find the tutorials that are appropriate for them. I think one of the reasons why that would be necessary is because given how things change with search engine optimization, some people who have uploaded YouTube videos in the past about an important Vegas Pro tutorial may not have updated their videos, so that could take a very long time to pop up in the engines. Some people might have submitted videos that aren't optimized at all. So this is the reason why I've decided to make this website, and of course I'm welcome anyone who would like to assist in this venture. Doug, thank you very much for tuning in. BQ Counter, thank you for tuning in. And that's it for today. I hope you guys learned something. I really do. because like this is something that's worth. These questions are worth considering as you implement the Vegas post link. All right, I'm rambling now. Okay, folks, I'm gonna see you later. Yes, Doug. Indeed, it is. And be sure to message me, Doug. Let's talk about more about the website as to how we're going to, how we can help each other in getting the Vegas Creative Academy website going. I know that you've expressed interest in helping with the venture. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.